following podcast does contain mature language and, more importantly, spoilers for the MSQ of Final Fantasy XIV, up to and including Endwalker. You have been warned, and now, on with the show. From the many realms of Eorzea to the distant reaches of the Two Moons via the magic of podcasting, this is episode 6 of A Podcast Reborn, a show celebrating our journey in the past, present, and possible future of Final Fantasy XIV. This episode is being recorded on Sunday, January 23rd of 2022. My name is Brian Black, otherwise known as Ro, and with me, as always, are my two wonderful co-hosts. First off, a cat mom and savage raider who's having a hard time focusing because of bunny boys moaning on either side of her. Hi, Meagan.
Hi. I'm here in body, but my spirit is rolling around in a pile of bunny boys, as always.
It sounds like you were up all night with bunny boys.
Ah, if only. No, I was being way more boring.
And with her, as always, is the father of legendary superhero Chihuahua Girl. Hi, Brandon.
Hello, everybody, and I'd like to welcome you all to another great meeting of Fantasia Addiction Anonymous. I see a lot of new faces in here, and I'm very disappointed.
See,
Okay.
I don't Fantasia.
Okay.
I just make an alt.
You know what? That was a good one. I'm going to actually say that was a legit good Final Fantasy XIV joke that I have not heard before. So you get, I'll give you that one.
Hey, I'll take it.
This is an interesting time, right? Because for me, this is the first time that I'm feeling what the middle of a content cycle is like. You get this big, huge rush of new content with the launch of the expansion, the big chunk of MSQ and stuff. And now things are kind of settling into routine where, okay, now you can go, if you want to do some raiding, you do some raiding. If you want to go back and do old content, you do that. Things are feeling a bit more similar to how they were feeling about a month or two before Endwalker came out. And that's both also, I wouldn't even say it's a bad thing. It's a different feeling for me because this is my first expansion where I'm actually feeling with that. I mean, all along since I was playing Final Fantasy XIV since April, I was basically running into new content left and right with as the MSQ kept going on and on. So it's been interesting getting comfortable with what my kind of play style is like at this point in the content cycle. How's it like? How's it been for you two? What have you two been up to? Are you feeling like okay? You're in the normal routine of things, or what's going on with either of you? How about you, Meagan?
Boy, so I basically finished all of the grind for this weekly stuff, and then I was like, I want more of a challenge. So me and Ward have found a static, and now we're doing savage raiding. And one more thing, I have left the summoner circle, and I have assumed my final form, what I was always truly meant to be, a horny bird.
You have gone full Dungeons and Dragons on us.
Yep. Well, Bard is like the class that every raid wants, but nobody wants to play. But I'm like nostalgic for it because that's been my niche since Stormblood.
Okay, I've been meaning to ask you about that. What
Sure.
exactly is it that so many people specifically want Bard for? Is it literally just the songs?
Yeah.
Are those buffs really worth it that much?
I can give up to a 15% damage boost every 3 minutes or something like that. It's ridiculous right now.
Interesting.
They gave us a new ability wherein with every song you do, you get a point, and then when you do all 3 songs, then you do a super song that gives everybody a super boost for 10 seconds.
Oh wow, song combos.
Yeah. So basically I am a murder idol. I sing to your hearts and make you murder better.
Okay.
That's what that tweet was about now. Now I understand it. If you folks haven't caught on, the intros are usually some sort of joke based off of what either of these two were tweeting, and I did see the thing about the Moe murder idol thing, so.
Well, okay, the definition of moe, if you're not a huge weeaboo, is that like you have like a protective instinct towards a character and like you want to see them thrive, and so I'm always like, oh, I'm a bard, I have like weaponized moe. Like, ooh woo, please save me, DPS, and hit harder. Ooh woo, tank, please save me and don't let it hit me.
Maybe that we'll get to this more when it's my turn, but maybe that's why I haven't been enjoying playing Bard lately on my alt.
Oh my gosh. Well, I like Bard. I like Dancer too. I like Machinist. I like I like anything that doesn't make me touch the boss because they're stinky. So yeah, I'm pounding Red Bull right now, but yeah, that's what I've been doing. We're up to P3 right now, which is the Firebird, which is
the Phoenix.
An issue. But we're up to Fountain of Flame, which I know is not going to mean anything to you. But oh boy, it's the whole thing. Like at some point, I'm gonna live stream next week when I'm doing Savages, so you guys can see what the hell I'm going through.
You showed us. You shared with us some video footage of you handling Zodiac Extreme, and that was quite entertaining.
That was me healing Zodiac Extreme, so...
Your static didn't want you healing?
No, what was funny is they're a group that is all healers and tanks, so they're calling themselves the support group. And
that's amazing.
Me and Ward, well, since Ward is like Dragoon Ride or Die, he's never played anything else.
Wow.
And I was like, I have Summoner, but I'm mostly about being a Bard. And they were like, oh, we already have somebody who wants to do Summoner, so if you want to be Bard. And I was like, yeah, I'm pretty much at this point accepted that it is my destiny. And I will be forever Bard.
Isn't that exactly what happened to you the last time you did progression rating?
Yes. Because Summoner is always the big shiny, and it's always the one that like, oh, our established raid player wants to be Summoner so they can do the big numbers. And so I get to stand on the back and go, dude, go better.
Did you have deja vu when they told you that?
A little bit, yes. But
nice.
Like, I honestly, it's also just very common in a raid comp. Like, if you're willing to play Bard, you're going to play Bard.
That sounds to me like the whole thing with Warlocks and Summoning Stones and Health Stones and all of that. It kind of has that vibe to me. It's like, well, every raid party needs a Warlock, right? And that's kind of how I fell into staying on Warlock in WoW as long as I did, because I was always needed because I was willing to play the class that gave out the health stones and summon people. So there you go.
Yeah, I played Mage for pretty much the entirety of WoW, and they just started slowly but surely giving quality of life adjustments that made all of my party utility useless. Like, we don't need portals back to the major city. We'll just drop group and it'll just put us back where we were when we queued up for the group finder. Mage food? Nah. Everyone's mana regens super fast now.
See, I mostly did Priest and Hunter I did Discipline Priest a lot, which is why I'm still really into barrier healing. But the other one was Hunter, because I was just obsessed with collecting pets. That was my thing. Like, if you ever listen to Warcraft Trolls, oh my god, because we did Warcraft Trolls mostly during Pandaria was the big when we started it, and it became Meagan and Wardcraft way later down the line. But anyway, I did this whole thing about trying to catch Patronacci, whose name I still remember, because oh boy, he was the pink crane that was invisible in the big central area in Pandaria. Its name is escaping me.
Grassrang?
Yes. Okay, so the way that the pets worked in Pandaria was you had to follow their little footprints that were on the ground, and they were invisible. The pet was invisible. You had to follow footprints. And
I remember that.
Petronetti's footprints were so tiny, and he would like double back on himself. He had the most complicated route. And I don't think I ever I think I got him out of stealth one time, but I didn't get my hunter mark on him in time. And then I lost him and I never saw him again.
You want to know something funny about that whole conversation there, Meagan?
Uh,
I did a lot of traveling this past week for my new job, and on the train ride home from the Denver airport, I was tired of catching up on the podcast I'd been listening to for pretty much the entire week. And I started listening to our show. And in episode 0 or 1, you had this exact same conversation about Pandaria pets.
Okay, look, man, it was my thing. I'm very upset that they never did another one. They didn't do any more invisible pets. Like, that made Hunter so great and so unique. And they were just like, nah.
No, you don't understand. I did the exact same thing with my wife during Pandaria. We stalked those pets forever. There was like one pet, I don't remember what it was, but it spawned in 4 different colors. And there was one in particular that was the color of our alma mater. And so we tracked it for a very long time. And then one day we just got super lucky and it had spawned in the colors we wanted. No, I did this exact same thing. I loved it. And I'm very, very sad they didn't continue the trend. I'm just laughing because I feel like I literally heard this a couple of days ago because I did.
Sorry, everyone. I have 4 stories. You're gonna hear them a lot.
It's quite all right. I mean, I'm sure I've repeated myself at least 2 or 3 times with certain things myself. I mean, it's kind of how the things go. We all have our jib. We all have our thing that we fall back on because we remember it a lot.
Oh yeah.
I've got a moment that I need to share with you two, and that I'm like eager to talk about. But I'm gonna let you talk first about your past couple of weeks, Brandon.
Well, like I said last week, I traveled a lot. Actually, not a lot. I traveled to another state to start my new job. I'll be traveling every other week until the school year ends, at which point we will be moving. So expect maybe a few schedule disruptions around summer as I try and pack up an entire house of very messy children.
You have an entire house of messy children? I thought you only had a few.
I have 2, but that's enough for a house, trust me. Especially these 2. I haven't really had time to do much in the game. I did complete, I don't remember if I'd done this by the last time we recorded, but I did finish the first few wings in normal mode just to complete that story. I admit I'm intrigued as to where this is going. I think I have some idea, but that's just guesswork. My guesses on story direction for this game never pan out. So aside from that, I leveled Sage up on my main character just because I wanted to, and I wanted to see what the job played like at endgame. And frankly, I wanted a better healer than Scholar for map nights. And I've started leveling my first alt, my cat girl, through the MSQ. And I decided, all right, I'm going to take her through the MSQ as a bard. And, in my off time when I don't feel like doing the MSQ, I'm going to level her tank job, Gunbreaker, via roulettes. And I don't know what it is, but I don't know if it's just that bard doesn't jive well with me or something, but I haven't really been enjoying myself. I got to the point last night where we had to kill the level 83. We're spoiler free at this point, right?
We are. Yep.
Okay. I got to the Zodiac trial, and maybe it was because I had members of my random group that refused to learn the starfall patterns, and we kept wiping. But I'm just sitting there like trying to track my dots, trying to track when my next song is supposed to go up. I'm like, this is not as much fun as I thought it would be. And again, I don't know if that was just because my group was frustrating me, or if it's just I'm not as good at Bard as I am other jobs, or if just the play style of it just wasn't working for me. But I did not have a good experience with that, and I was very relieved when we finally dropped him.
I feel like Bard hasn't changed a lot. It's very much about lining up all your cooldowns.
Oh, yeah, it absolutely is. And it's even gotten better, at least to me. Maybe other Bard players feel differently about it, but the extended duration on the dots and the songs, and the fact that the song procs aren't tied to dots anymore. There's just a straight up 80% chance of a song happening every so often. I really like that, and it's definitely made the job a lot more fun, which is why I decided to do that for the MSQ on my alt, but
It's made raiding a lot more doable.
oh, I'm sure.
Because you have a lot more like wiggle room of keeping your dots up, keeping your songs going, and you don't have to be like watching your dots like a hawk.
Yeah,
which is really nice.
Yeah, it definitely was, but I don't know. After that whole experience, it got me thinking. All right, do I just want to like go grind out some roulettes on Gunbreaker or Red Mage or something, and just do the rest of the story as a different job, or do I just keep it up and chalk it up to? No, I have my jobs split between my three characters, and Machinist belongs to the main. So
I see. Well, yeah. What about Dancer?
That belongs to the other alt. My choices for the cat girl are Gunbreaker, Red Mage, Ninja, or Bard, or possibly Light Mage.
I'd say Red Mage. Red Mage is really useful for when you're in one of those party finders and everybody's eating shit.
Yeah, that may have been the other thing is people are constantly dying. I'm like, if I was doing this on my other character, I just, pop res on Summoner, and I hate that I can't do that right now. I have no way to heal these people up. I have no way to freaking res people. All I can do is just keep pumping out songs, but I don't know.
Switching from Summoner to Bard when you're like doing prog raiding is like so frustrating.
Oh, I'm sure.
When you're like, you see people dying and you're like, that's not my problem anymore.
I think
you're on your own.
I think for now, since I'm coming up to the events on the moon, and I don't have any more crazy group content coming up because I can do frickin' Heidelin and Trust, and I can just hang around until the End Singer to do more crazy 8-man content where I have to be really on my game, as much as I can be, because I am not that great a player. So I think I'm just going to stick it out for now. I don't really want to pause to level up another job up to 84 to get caught up in the story where I am.
I think the main thing that's frustrating about Bard is that you're really at the mercy of the group you're in.
That is entirely true.
Like, there's not a lot you can do personally to turn things around. Like, yeah. Which, when you're used to Summoner, can be an adjustment.
And it also doesn't help that, Summoner finally got rid of its dots, and, oh, look, now I'm playing a job through the MSQ that actively uses them still.
Yeah. Although I like it because I liked the multi-dot.
Yeah.
I'm always like, 2 targets, yeah!
Anyway, that's pretty much been the limit of what I've been able to do for the past couple of weeks. It hasn't been a whole lot. I had a lot of driving to do, a lot of hours in the office for my new job, and so I didn't really get much of a chance to play at all the past week. And the week before that was basically a lot of like getting ready to fly out and, dealing with anxiety about something new happening in my life because, I'm not great with change.
I definitely get that. As far as change goes, one thing that I have noticed for myself in Final Fantasy XIV is that what I'm doing has definitely changed a lot. I have gone from doing a whole lot of daily content to doing just a little bit of daily content. I've been really, really hitting Gathering hard, trying to make Gil for the sake of making Gil.
That's what you fleece casinos for.
Well, I like doing a little bit of both, right? Because, okay, this is weird, right? Casinos can be good Gil. They can even be better than Gathering if you play it right, but they do have some risk to it. And at the same time, I like Gathering because it feels a bit more earned and worked for. I don't know. There's something that, and I can also, some activities in Final Fantasy XIV I can do while literally playing Hearthstone. So I have this kind of routine where I'll do Gathering for a while, and then I'll do crafting, and I have crafting macros set up. So I do my Gathering, then once I'm into my crafting and hitting my crafting macros, I eat my food, hit my crafting macros, and I can play Hearthstone while I'm just macro crafting, and it's just a half hour goes by, 1 or 2 pieces of food get used, and I play a few good games of Hearthstone and stuff. Meanwhile, I'm making progress on Final Fantasy XIV. It's the multitasking scratches a good itch for me. So been finding different ways to make gil, and came across this really new, revolutionary way of making gil, folks. It's something that I did not know existed in Final Fantasy XIV, or rather, I had heard something about it, but I never really understood what it meant. So this is where I reveal how much of a noob I was. Meagan, Brandon, I just learned out what spirit bonding was last week, and about all the free materia that you can get just from playing the fucking game.
Yeah, I didn't learn about the whole spirit bonding gives you materia thing until probably 5.4 or 5.5. Also,
nobody tells you about it.
No, they really don't, unfortunately.
So, for those of you that are possibly like me and maybe a little bit new to Final Fantasy XIV, here's the thing. Especially once you've gotten to max level with something, I mean, it applies as you're leveling too, but really once you hit max level with something, keep an eye on your gear, because if you bring up your character and you look over each piece of gear, you'll notice 2 bars. The 2 bars to the left of the icon. One of them's durability, that's the one to the right. Then there's another bar to the left, which if you haven't been paying attention for a while, is probably lit up white. And you're probably wondering, why is there that second bar? Well, you see, that's your spirit bond meter. Also, in the tooltip, you'll see spirit bond 100% probably. So if you do that, you right-click on that item, select extract materia, and from the way I gather it, it looks like the higher item level the gear you have, the more likely you are to get higher grade materia. Because now that I have basically endgame crafted gear and, stuff from Asphodelos and all of that, I got tier 10 materia that, is selling for 30, 40,000 gil a piece.
Mm-hmm.
I on my gathering and crafting jobs, I got tier 9 and tier 10 materia. I'm like, why? And I think about all the materia I have missed out on over the past several weeks until just last week. Because basically the way that spirit bond meter builds up is by doing doing the things that class does. The more you gather, the more you build up your spirit bond meter on gathering gear, the more you craft with crafting gear and so on. And I guess you get more of a gain on gathering things by hitting legendary nodes and time nodes and stuff, as opposed to just normal gathering. And with crafting, the more rare the recipe, that can have an effect on things. There's potions you can take to build your spirit bond increase. There's stuff you can do with squadrons that gives you items that build up your spirit bond thing. Spirit bonding, it's a thing, and I've learned about it, and I have sold so much materia over the last week and a half that I haven't been selling for months.
Ro, I'm going to blow your mind a little more. If you go into your jobs and actions, basically what we would consider the spell book in WoW.
If you tell me there's an extract all, I'm going to hit you.
There's not an extract all, but there is a button that says materia extraction. If you click that, it will show you all of your inventory in your armory and your regular inventory. And it'll also show you at the very top anything that's ready for extraction.
Oh my God.
Yeah. That I just found out about probably the past 2 weeks.
Wow. This freaking game.
Yeah, I just keep an eye on the little green dots.
Right.
As soon as they turn white, you're good to go. But that has been a super handy thing for me to learn about, because the second I found out about that, I flipped over to both of my alts, pulled that up, and it's like, oh dear God, there's so much crap I can extract right now. Made bank.
Yeah, and I had a whole bunch of gear from leveling and stuff that I had maybe worn for a long time, and it fully spirit bonded, and I even got some materia from lesser tiers that I put on and got some gil out. So, yeah.
Here's the absolute worst part.
Huh.
How many times have you sold a piece of gear that you didn't need anymore, and it said,
even fucking say that? Oh my God.
And it said your spirit bond with this item is 100%. And
I know.
Sure you want to sell it. And you're like, I don't know what that means. Get it out of here.
I'm just like, okay, cool. That's really bonded with me. I'm sure I'll miss it, and I'll write letters to it or something. And, oh my God.
It used to be they were deciding between like destroying it for the materia or selling it for me, it's usually like turn it in for seals. That's the other thing I'm doing a lot of. So trying to get those pet boxes. But yeah. But now it's just like, hey, buddy. You forget something?
Yeah. Oh, I've been doing a lot of boxes for pets and mounts too. I have not yet seen a mount come out of one of these boxes. You did?
Oh, you did? I was beginning to think that was a myth.
I got this weird squiddly guy that comes out of Eureka.
Oh, wow.
Okay, very nice.
That must have been an expensive one. Did you happen to check the price of it before you used it?
No. I need the thing to ride, not the gold to spend.
Yeah, I will. If I get a pet out of those, I will immediately try to use it, and if I can't use it, then I'll sell it.
Oh
Otherwise,
my God, I've gotten like 4 Bombocos. I'm like,
same. I swear, though, the amount of gear from Katis's Hyperborea, the dungeon where your trust partners are Emmett, Hith, and the Knot. I farmed that place trying to get the full Reaper gear out of there because, Nazgul. The amount of stuff I have traded into the freaking Maelstrom Commander.
Oh,
I'm just
man.
like, you're going to outfit everybody in the entire friggin' Maelstrom with this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to have a brigade of Nazgul.
Hey, I'll take it. Looks awesome, and I am super happy with it.
Other things I've been doing is I am starting to do Beast Tribe quests for the first time in Final Fantasy XIV. And there is one simple reason that I'm doing Beast Tribe quests. And do you know what that is?
Dances.
Casino RP. Yes, friends, you knew I'd talk about Casino RP on an episode. That's like, if you felt a bingo card for this show, Ro talks about Casino RP has to be like the free spot, right? So I learned that the whole Gil Toss emote is apparently an award called an emote called Gratuity.
Yep.
And you get the Gratuity emote by completing all 3 Stormblood Beast Tribe quests and getting max with them, and then there's a combined Beast Tribe quest storyline for Stormblood, and you do all of that, and you get the Gratuity emote. So that's become my my new thing. So I'm exploring side content, and I just unlocked the Ananta tribe, and that was it's funny because I went to go unlock the Ananta tribe, did not expect to get Mikote lore while unlocking the Anante tribe. That threw me off, but okay, here we are. And it was pretty interesting lore too. It was good stuff.
I actually did that one during Shadowbringers just because, it was more story. And me, my primary motivation to do anything in this game is story. And I was shocked at how much fun I found the Beast Tribe quests in Stormblood. And the Allied Beast Tribe quest, where you basically like kind of unite them all against a certain threat, is super interesting, and I can't wait for you to experience it. I was actually looking forward to them doing one for Shadowbringers, and they never did, and it was very, very sad to me because I ground them up, to max rep anyway, just because they were really, really good ways to level. But I'm sitting there going, really? We're not going to get another Allied Beast Tribe quest? That's disappointing. It was a fun story. I had been working on doing it during Heavensward, but I think they slowed the rep gains down a bit, or they sped them up for subsequent expansions. And I kind of burned myself out on doing the friggin' Moogles and the Vanu and the Voth just every day. It just got to be too much, and I eventually just gave up on it. But they've done an Allied Beast Tribe quest for every expansion up until Shadowbringers, and I do eventually want to go back and do the one for A Realm Reborn, which has 5 Beast Tribes to knock out, because the reward for completing the Allied Beast Tribe quest is a thing called the Sable Death Mask. If you haven't seen that before, it's basically a cybernetic eye plate.
Oh, what?
Yeah, and as the guy who likes glamming all of his jobs to be very tech-oriented, I kind of want that. a lot.
It's funny because, for one thing, when I heard about the gratuity emote, it's like you wouldn't necessarily put the gratuity emote together with complete Beast Tribe quests, nor would I put together Cyber Eye thing with completing 5 Beast Tribe quests from A Realm Reborn.
Isn't Stormblood the Namazu?
Yes, Namazu, Ananta, and the turtles, I think. Yeah.
Namazu are the only one I'm kind of tempted because I love their the mount that they give you.
The Mikoshi, yeah.
Have you seen that?
Oh, I own it.
I have not.
Oh my god, bro, you're in for a treat.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you exactly what happens in the interest of spoilers again, unless you want them.
No spoilers.
The Namazu it's the crafting and gathering beast tribe for Stormblood, so
okay,
it's really good for leveling in the 60 to 70 range if you haven't leveled one of the crafting or gathering jobs through there. And it's definitely one of those where you don't have to go out and farm things. They basically give you everything or point you in the direction of where to go gather stuff. It's not challenging content at all, but the story is hilarious because, the Namazu, aside from that one who, least kicks into the stratosphere, are all great. They're adorable and they're kind of derpy, and I love them.
Kind of derpy. Their eyeballs go in 2 different directions.
Well, I mean, they're little fish dudes. That's just biology.
Well, yeah, they're amazing. I think they're my favorite beast tribe, other than the Moogles.
Ugh.
There are opinions on this podcast.
I like the Moogles, aside from all the random times in which they try to get you to do stuff for them because they're too lazy. Now, grant you,
that's part of being a Moogle.
That doesn't happen very much in the Beast Tribe questing, but the rest of the time you're dealing with them in the was it the Sea of Clouds? I guess I don't remember the 2 heavens or zones in the sky.
Yep. I loved all the fates of this Moogle wants to prove that he's really strong, so you got to beat him up and send him home.
Yeah, those were pretty great. I remember doing those at least a couple of times when I was working on the frickin' memories from the Shadowbringers relic weapons. But yeah, Ro, I think you're in for a treat. The Ananta storyline is really good. What the heck are the turtle people called? I cannot think of it now. I've been trying to rack my brain what the heck it is ever since Meagan posted that image in our Discord.
It'll come to us once we see it, once we dig it up on a Google search.
What are the turtle people called in the Stormblood?
Kojin?
The Kojin, yes. Thank you. Oh my god. All I could think of was Soroban. And I was like, nope, that's just one particular guy.
That is one Kojin.
I have my own personal Final Fantasy wiki, and its name is Ward, my husband.
Thanks, Ward.
Thank you, Ward. We appreciate you fixing our not working brains. The Kojin it's okay. I had more fun with the Ananta and the Namazu, but yeah, definitely enjoy the experience. It's a hoot.
Yeah, I feel like if I'm going to be running casino games, because that's what I've started to do now. It's like, not only am I gambling at casinos, I'm now even a night or two a week being the dealer at a venue, running the games, so that when someone wins, I want to have that Gil toss gratuity emote and shower them with Gil. So I could also see that emote, being useful for, sometime when I get drunk and end up randomly in a nightclub and want to throw Gil at a dancer. I mean, sure, why not?
There were a couple of times during our free company's map nights in which I would use it in front of the doors, hoping that it would, count as payment and it would let us keep going to the next floor.
That's good too.
That's funny.
It doesn't work, but whatever.
And you have caused us to sidetrack into the next question I have for both of you. I'm going to ask Brandon because I think he's had more opportunities. Brandon, have you made it to the final room of the maps?
Once.
One
time.
How'd you like that final boss there?
I'm struggling to remember it. It was just a regular old boss. I feel like I didn't remember it being any particular difficulty of challenging or anything.
You remember the trick to it, though, right?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah. So for those who haven't gotten to the final boss yet, if you don't want to be spoiled by it, then like skip ahead literally 10 seconds. But it's essentially a boss with a Kefka mechanic. So sometimes you stand in the bad and sometimes you don't stand in the bad. When it's upside down, you do stand in the bad. When it's right side up, you don't stand in the bad. And that's all you have to do to really beat it.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun. I've gotten to it a couple of times now, and I had this one run not too long ago where I saw 2 Archangel wings drop, which was pretty freaking nice, and I got neither of them.
Oh, I actually saw the Pixie wings drop, and I won them.
Nice.
And
on Old Man
sold
Frank?
them. Yes.
We need to have a picture of Old Man Franks with Pixie wings, and it needs to be retweeted on Podcast Reborn Twitter.
That's going to be hard because they were going for 1.2 million gills, so I sold them.
Oh, I mean,
Greedy bastard.
1.2 million. I can't blame you. I can't blame
We
you.
were this close to greatness, and you threw it away.
Yep.
Imagine Old Man Franks with Pixie wings.
Oh, I'd ham it up too. Get a nice shirtless pose going. It'd be great. But you're not going to see it because that thing is worth money. That's why I do map nights for money.
Yeah. Where are you at on Gil right now?
That actually pushed me over 20 million.
Nice.
Yeah. I was quite happy with it, and I immediately spent a ton of it trying to buy materials because I don't want to level the other crafters up so I could complete one of the Studium delivery quest lines.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I've only finished one of the Studium quest lines, the Gathering one, and that one was dang it, I did not think that. I guess I'm a freaking softie because the end of that Studium quest line had kind of a happy ending, and it actually made me like get a little misty-eyed. And I'm like, this is a freaking quest that doesn't even have voiced lines, and I'm getting a little emotional about it, and I felt stupid.
Yeah, it felt a little bit ridiculous. Like I got some very definite Hildebrand vibes off of it because I'm like,
right.
Really, y'all are just asking me to bring you these random, non-specific materials from all these different regions, and somehow from that, you're going to get enough of pieces of their culture to experience what life is like for them. I don't think that's how this works, but okay, whatever. Y'all are giving me scripts for it. I'll do it.
It's how a Charlian would think it works. They're like, the people are not important. The knowledge, the things, those are important.
You're not wrong.
And also awkward flirting. Let's not forget that part.
Oh yeah, they're an island of extremely awkward nerds.
So yeah, I've done that one, and I did the one that you can do as a carpenter, weaver, or a leather worker, which is basically you're helping this one really, really shy guy craft a telescope. That was the one I spent most of this afternoon working on,
and what's he going to do with that telescope? Because that sounds a little creepy.
Yeah.
He's actually looking for a star he and his best friend spotted 10 years ago, and they joined the Faculty of Astronomy just so that they could see it again and get recognition for it. And the problem is that the friend has basically been trying to search for it and all that time, never found it, so he gave up and joined Poetry Club.
Oh my god. Does this like best friend in like air quotes, just like childhood friend trope from anime?
Pretty much, yeah.
Anyway,
yeah, I did finish it. It has a cute ending, not nearly as heartwarming as the Gathering one.
Mm-hmm.
But I did also start doing the first turn in for the fishing quest line.
Yeah.
I want some opinions on this because I want to know if I'm alone in this. Have either of you done much with fishing in this game?
I'm up to 70 now.
I'm up to 7 right now.
I only started doing it when they introduced the fish tanks, and I wanted to get my own fish for my house.
Mm-hmm.
But then I just had Ward get me a Megalodon, and I have that in my basement.
Okay.
No. I'm dying.
Please don't die. So I maintain that fishing is the most frustrating and outdated form of gathering gameplay still in Final Fantasy XIV. Because I'm like, it is absolutely terrible to just sit there, use all of your GP consuming moves to try and catch one specific fish. And then you just have a streak where you're catching something else that happens to live in those waters. Because unlike, freaking botany and mining, you can't target what it is you're trying to farm.
And no more of this fish.
Yeah, I mean, they have abilities where it's like, oh, you caught something you don't like, then you can like slap the waters and you won't catch any more of that. But this is also the problem I have with the GP resource in this game, to where it regenerates so freaking slowly. You could spend like one session of it, until the timer goes off on everything, catching maybe 4 or 5 fish, and then you have to either wait for your cordials to come off cooldown or wait for your GP to slowly regenerate back to full so you can actually do your full quote unquote rotation again and try and get the things you're actively trying to go for. It's just been an incredibly frustrating and slow experience. And I'm like, this is why I leveled via leave quests and I just bought the things they were trying to get. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I really don't like the fishing gameplay of this game. I wish they'd have more of a menu that could pop up where you're like, yeah, I want to try and catch this fish. And again, I know that's not, they do it the way they do it because it mirrors more closely how fishing would work in real life. But at the same time, it's just not an enjoyable gaming experience. If I wanted to deal with that, I don't know, I think I'd just go fishing in real life, which I don't really want to do.
I have never fished a day in real life, period,
no,
at all.
Me either.
Even
I've
though
only
I
ever fished in video games.
Yeah, I mean, I live right off the shore of Lake Erie. I have not fished a day in my life. Some people consider that a crime. But no, that's me.
Yeah, I fished a lot with my dad when I was a kid because he had a boat. And I fished a few times in the Boy Scouts because, it's the Boy Scouts. That's what you do, among other things. And it's just not an experience I particularly enjoy. And I don't know. I think in the name of, catering too much to be as close to the real life version of it as possible, they've made a system that's just very, very frustrating to deal with. But again, I've never really done much in the way of high level fishing, like going after like the super rare things that people love to collect, or doing much with ocean fishing, which I suppose I
should try. Have you done the
spear
fishing yet?
I have not done the new spear fishing since they changed it in Endwalker. No.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't done that either, but I'm wondering if the spear fishing would seem at least a little more engaging and entertaining for you.
It's entirely possible, so I'll have to go give that a try if I can ever figure out what exactly I would get out of it that would be useful to me.
You're asking the wrong person here, because I know zip about that. I know more about spirit bonding than I do about fishing. I can say that much.
I just want to be able to do the studium delivery quests so that I can be done with it and then, not fish again until the friggin' crafting beast tribe comes out, the gathering beast tribe comes out, and I can just finish leveling it that way.
Gotcha. One thing I wanted to kind of lightly go over before we wrapped up today is that we rarely talk like news here, right? But I did see a Reddit post pop up and saw a couple content creators talking about on YouTube, and I thought I would bring it up here, where apparently there was during one of the Final Fantasy XIV team's Mahjong live streams, which I didn't even know Mahjong live streams were even a thing.
Wait, what?
This is the
first time hearing of this.
Yeah, apparently in Japan, they have Final Fantasy XIV Mahjong live streams.
Nice.
I've seen footage of it, but there was during that live stream, Yoshida had confirmed that there would be a special edition live letter from the producer in February, and that the preview for 6.1 would be in March. So, I mean, these live letters are usually kind of like Yoshida's way to update us on what's going on with the game and what's coming up, and usually talking about the next content patch, at least as far as I know. But the next one coming up in February is basically kind of an overall presentation of, okay, Endwalker's over, the Highland Zodiac thing is done. So this is what you have in general to look forward to in 6.x. And that's intriguing to me. It's intriguing to me that they would even tell us what that's going to be, because I feel like, isn't that something that they would rather us just kind of discover by just putting it in there and having us kind of run into it and figure it out? So
they need the hype train.
Right?
Yeah, I was going to say, we're in uncharted territory here. We've all kind of known what we could expect in the patch content, at least for Stormblood and Shadowbringers, but Endwalker is brand new. I mean, for the first 3 major patches, we're always going to see like, okay, well, what's a major plot thread that's been left over from the base game, the base expansion's MSQ that hasn't quite been resolved yet. But we're not getting that with Endwalker's patch content. We're getting an entirely new story direction.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's almost as if Endwalker is really 2 stories. It's 6.0 is the Endwalker story, and then 6.1 through 6.5 is kind of its own beast altogether. Or at least that's what it seems like. And maybe this live letter is going to elaborate on that further. I've been told, I've seen in a couple other places that there's going to be like big surprises about what's revealed there. That the name of the 6.1 patch is going to make people laugh. I can only. It's weird because when I played World of Warcraft and they talk about like the content that's coming up next, even before the stuff was necessarily, available to be data mined and stuff. And I'm so glad Final Fantasy 14 stuff can't be data mined until like right when it comes out. But
I'm
usually,
not.
right? Usually with WoW, you kind of had a little bit of an idea of what they were doing next, right? Here, it really feels like you're flying blind, and there's something great about that, but also at the same time, my anxiety is kind of like, what's next? So,
well, I think we kind of have some hints that were dropped in for the MSQ as to where we might be going for the story.
Well, yeah, all the things Emmett said at that one scene are like all possible places that we could go. Sure,
I agree, but there's also, and I say that they say they're not going to like go through a major dangling plot thread, but this isn't really so much of a major dangling plot thread that because there's no antagonist tied to it. But one of the things I expect we'll be dealing with is the future of Garlemald. Because I mean, we've got an entire country that's full of people who, are just waiting to be cured of their tempering. We've got to figure out, how much do we help them rebuild? Because, we've been at war with these people. But again, they were being manipulated by the Ascians. I mean, the entire freaking empire only exists because of them. So, I mean, will we explore the possibility of, what does the new Garlean government look like that's going to help, guide its people towards its next future? Will we see frickin' Euless or Gaius Van Baelsaw or any of the other, various Garlean NPCs that we've been drip fed throughout the story that aren't exactly dead? Will we see any of them make a return? I don't know.
Definitely going to be Gaius.
Yeah, probably. I don't expect we'll spend like a major 3-patch plot arc leading up to 6.3 over it, but I would not be surprised if we spend at least 1 patch or 2 maybe touching on the themes of trying to help a nation rebuild that you were at war with for so freaking long. I mean, yeah, we touched on a lot of that during the actual Garlemald storyline, but I expect them to at least continue with that on for probably a little bit.
The other thing that some people are kind of teasing around the idea is, what if there is a time skip at 6.1 instead of some people have said that there's going to be a time skip at 7.0, the next expansion, but other people are thinking that the time skip may be actually coming sooner than that, as 6.1 kind of kicks off the next saga, as it were. And the question I have to pose to you to kind of put a little bit of a funny and light spin on this is, will you be happy or disappointed if they time skip and you get an entirely new Alisei and Alphino?
It's very execution dependent.
Yeah, I mean, will I be happy that, Alice and Alphino are finally adults and get to see what their new models look like and watch all of their fanboys and fangirls go nuts and start thirsting over them? Sure, that'll be hilarious. Otherwise, I'm going to be hella disappointed because I fucking hate time skips so much. Like, time skips are basically just a lazy way of saying, like, all right, well, all the stuff you did before doesn't really matter. Here's what we're going to do from here. And then you're just left wondering with, well, what the hell happened in all that time, that we just jumped right over.
I would prefer it if, like, the twins go off somewhere and we don't see them for a few patches and then they come back grown up. Because they've said that elves in puberty hits hard and fast.
Yeah, I was going to say, we don't even have to have them gone for like a few patches. They could just be gone for like a couple of quest lines and then come back and it's like, oh, you look different.
You're so tall.
Yeah. So
insert a Estinian joke about how short they're not anymore here. Because that's coming.
Alphino has said that, like, I think he said his father was a late bloomer or something like that. Like, him and oh god, who's his buddy who ended up in the wheelchair?
Arnvald.
Arnvald are constantly joking about him, like, oh, someday I'll be taller than you, but it probably won't be for a while because I'm a fan favorite in my tiny cute form.
And then they make the really dark joke after he's put in the wheelchair.
I know, right?
Man, I guess that happens sooner than I thought. Like, oh, Arnvald. I'm glad you're able to joke about your condition, but man,
buddy,
bad for you, dude.
He's a good man.
Yeah, he
dark
is.
Sense of humor. That's what you need in this world. Jesus Christ.
I mean, I honestly thought he would have only been in the wheelchair for a while, and then he would have been healed somehow, and then he help us out in the 11th hour, but they didn't go that route. They're like, all right, no, this is more of a permanent thing. Okay.
Consequences.
Yeah.
Like, anybody outside of the direct scions is pretty much fair game for anything bad happening to them.
Yeah, you say that, and then, like, look at how many scions died in Endwalker. We thought, it was going to be a bloodbath. We're going to lose people left and right. We didn't lose anybody.
We don't lose any. That's the thing. Like, they've gotten to the point where, like, the seventh, your little core group is safe. It seems, and like, but at the same time, like, that's the best twist they could have pulled on us because we were all like, "Who's gonna die? Who's gonna die?" And they're like, "Nobody."
I mean, let's be real here. A lot of people got killed in the final days. Like, a lot of them. I definitely do not mean to gloss over, and make light of just how many people died in that massive catastrophe.
Well, I think it was like, because in Shadowbringers there's so many fake outs, and I would say that Thancred's fake out was incredibly effective, and also that the what is it, the duty that they have you do as him, and like, I was just like,
he's going up against Ranjit.
Oh, I redid that recently on my potato, and I was like, this legitimately is like making me anxious and making me feel bad. It's like, I know that he lives through this in the end, but like the fact that like you're slowing down and the ability is taking more and more of a toll on you, and like you're getting hit more and more, and you're just like, oh no, like you really feel that like this is his last stand. This is him giving everything he has.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when I like came around the corner the first time and saw that he was sitting there and still alive, I was like, oh my.
Yeah, I remember that too. It was like, ooh, wow. Y'all got me. I fell for it. I was totally expecting that.
Prediction 6.1 will have a murder mystery. Who killed Hoary Boulder?
No, not Hoary and his. Doesn't he have a brother and they're like Eiffel Towering a girl?
They're not. You're thinking of Ochre Boulder and his girlfriend Aenor.
Oh, well, there we go.
Who they are very much, sleeping together, and she wants to sleep with both of them. But as far as so far, at least, Hoary has either been completely oblivious or is just pretending not to notice.
So you're telling me that Hoary is not Hoary? Gotcha.
He probably is. He's just like, I want my brother to have this.
He's like, I really don't want to share a bed naked with my brother. Not kind of into that.
Yeah.
Speaking of Hori Boulder, quick sidebar: opinions on his voice, because he got a couple of voice cutscenes in Endwalker.
I barely remember. I just remember
I
seeing
don't
it
even
and
remember it.
pointing at the screen and being like, oh, because that was the one that Ward said was going to die this time. And I was like, here it goes.
Yeah, he shows up in the cutscenes like right before you set off for Charlian for the first time, and then I think he shows up again when everybody shows up to give you things for the spaceship,
the relics and all that.
Yeah. And I was expecting like more of a deep boisterous voice, but he has kind of a pretty stereotypical Limsa voice, where it's just like kind of higher pitched and makes a lot of piratey references, or at least has that kind of that tone to him. I'm like, this is that's it wasn't what I was picturing for him at all, but there you go.
Yeah, well, Limsa is like 70%, bro. They're all Cockney pirates. It's very strange.
By the way, listeners, she means Rogadin. We don't have our co-host here, just occupying 70% of with this.
Yeah, I do not take up 70% of Limsa.
Ro, the fact that you're not a Ro is kind of what the fuck.
Hey, it's Alexander RHO, not Alexander ROE.
But then you can be like row the row who rows upon the shore. I don't know.
You could be Alexander RHO Godin.
I don't know. It's
you should make a row. One.
Okay.
In the alt apocalypse.
I'm going to disappoint someone in a certain group that I hang out with. I'm just not feeling the Rogadin male vibe. It's like if I were to play a Ro, it'd probably be a Ro female, but even then I'd probably have alts of other choices before that. And to Jason Momoa, the Rogadin male, who I consider a good friend and buddy. My apologies.
I will say this: when I first started playing 14, I was fresh out of World of Warcraft. I'm like, all right, well, I'm a Horde player. I want to play the most bestial looking race I can play at the in this game. Now, just a reminder: I started playing in Stormblood, so Hrothgar and Viera did not exist, and I didn't have access to any of the expansions at this point. So neither were Al Ross. So what was my choice? Rogadin. So I'm running around as a balding, chalk white Rogadin named Old Man Franks, because of course at this point I knew nothing of the lore and what a good Ro name was. And I'm like, I'm going to make him a caster because this giant beef slab of a man who is actually not all that strong and instead, hurls magic at people was hilarious to me.
It's funny. Oh, go ahead.
To name a Ro, you either, take you do like the edge of down, or you sneeze and slam your face on the keyboard.
And that's how you get
Now, just like every other race in this game, Rogadin have an entire forum post dictating the nomenclature of their names, and they even came up with an entire not entire languages worth of translations for different words, but a pretty comprehensive list, and that you could actually find any Rogadin name that's not just straight up dancing wolf or whatever, and go translate it. And some of these names are actually pretty cool.
Huh.
Yeah, I always like the ones that are the super literal names. My favorite being Torrid Whisper.
There's a Femro person you can get for your squadron called Kalis Whisper.
Oh yeah, I have her. Oh my god, I need to retake the video did, because I actually learned how to play Kalis Whisper on the saxophone. Because you can do that as a bard. So yes, I'm just standing next to her. I'm just imagining her being like, "Oh my fucking god."
Oh man. It's funny because my main character has been in World of Warcraft. After I switched Horde, I couldn't be human, so I switched to Blood Elf. But my main character, more often than not, has been human or here or wherever like that. And boy, I get it. I don't get it directed at me, but I cannot tell you how many times I hear people say, man, people who play humans or here are so boring. Why do you want to play a human character when you could be one of these fantastic looking fantasy character types and stuff like that? And it's like, yeah, I get that, but some people just want to some people just want to have a character that's more possibly a representation of themselves and stuff. I don't know. It's a human shame. It's weird because it's like there is legit human shaming in the MMOs I've played.
The thing is, World of Warcraft had some fucking hideous humans. All right.
Oh, for sure.
Like the sausage fingers, the pedo mustaches, the dancing. Well, and also original World of Warcraft models. The female humans used to breathe through their tits. Their boobs would inflate and deflate with their breath, not their chest, just their boobs. I did not have any human characters in World of Warcraft until the model redesign. If I was on Alliance, I would be a Draenei, or I would be a Night Elf, or a gnome. I had a lot of gnomes, but I would never a human, because it was just the fingers, man. There's something so hideous about the fingernail texture on like the weird chunky tapered fingers.
Mm-hmm.
And the beady little eyes and the flappy Muppet mouths. No. Anyway, the thing is, like in Final Fantasy, I like that there are two varieties of like everything, and I also like that with the humans, they're like extremely different.
Oh yeah, Midlander and Highlander. Yeah, that's great.
Like,
yeah, are you a Midlander, Ro?
I am a Midlander. So yes,
I wonder, because I play a Highlander here, and
yes.
I wonder if it's just a Midlander thing, because
it's like,
I've never really seen that directed my way whatsoever.
Yeah, that's true.
Midlanders are pretty vanilla. Highlanders do. Highlanders look like they're just kind of shorter rows that look like humans. I don't know.
Well, yeah, Midlanders are like, do you want to be anime Protag-kun or Protag-chan? I can't stand the female Midlander run. They do this thing where they put their arms out and they make little like girly wrists. It's like, it's such an anime run, and I'm like, I can't do it. I think they're very cute. Like, I think all the models are great, but I just can't do the run with them. Like, it looks so silly. I also really love the fucking readied stance that the female Highlanders take. Like, they always just look like they're ready to punch you in the face.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You know how you mentioned anime Protag-chan?
Mm-hmm.
The unfortunate thing is, I have to say, yeah, you're right, because here's the thing. How did I come up with my appearance for my main in Final Fantasy XIV? My main through all the MMOs has been basically create a character that looks as close as possible to Squall Leonhart from Final Fantasy VIII, but put glasses on him. So yes, it's anime Protag-chan. In WoW, I didn't really have glasses, so I went with engineering goggles.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
That's why you always had those on in all of your freaking transmogs.
There you go.
God. Original character, do not steal.
I mean, I run around as a freaking Godbert clone. I have no room to talk there. But I mean, I'm a Highlander here because once I figured out what my character's backstory was going to be, I'm like, okay, he can't be a Rogadin anymore. This only really makes sense if he becomes a Hure. And I need him to look like an old man. So it's either Midlander or Highlander. Well, Midlander's right out because it's not really possible to pull that off. So, you know, what's the coolest looking old man I can make as a Highlander? And turns out it's just a Godbert clone.
Well, he is pretty cool though.
He is. That's a problem. You know, sure, the character might be a bit wacky, but you can't really deny that if you're wanting to look like an old man, that's kind of the best you're going to be able to pull off in this character creator. It's pretty freaking great.
Well, with me and Ward, we decided we wanted to be cat people, and I was going to be a calico and he was going to be a tuxedo cat.
Mm-hmm.
So I went with Seeker of the Sun just because I like the slit pupils, and he had a Keeper of the Moon because he anime boy. And we didn't learn about the lore until we'd been, playing for a while. And then I remember my original, I don't even remember what my original name was, but it wasn't lore appropriate. So I think I paid the like $5 or whatever it is to change it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was literally, I'm still trying. It's like, I wish I could have 2 alternate colors so I could do brown and orange, but mostly I just do orange. But having white hair, everybody's like, oh, cat girl white hair.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the thing I don't get. Why are we shaming people for playing Midlanders when this game is 99% cat people?
Because cat people are the best. Filthy plebeians. And your non-horny characters can't relate.
If you want to further shame me for playing it here, you can email apodcastreborn@gmail.com. That said, I do have a couple alts, and I've actually been starting to play some of my alts, and I've decided that I'm going to have a Elven Paladin and a Viera Machinist, at least as far as what their main jobs are. So,
male or female?
Both of those are female, actually.
Viera female Machinist. I don't know. There's just something good about it. It's like I was one with nature till I picked up the gun.
That is entirely why I'm going Viera Machinist, because it is very going against the grain.
It's amazing.
There's also that like manic inventor energy that Viera girl from Boja had.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about her.
Oh, what was her name? It was like Lilja or something like that. She was great.
Yeah. She was very cute, very hyper, and yeah. And did she tease the Aura girl about her crush on Sid?
I think she teased just about everybody for their various crushes on people. Of course, she had a fairly obvious crush on, the player characters herself. Mm-hmm. But hey.
So does everyone.
Right.
Also, as far as being like, oh, you're boring because you're a Midlander here, like that's the placeholder warrior flight, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Like, don't get mad. The Square likes them. If you really want to follow what's supposed to be canon.
Yeah, so I mean, judge me if you want, but I'm happy with what I got, and I'm trying new things too. So I will. You can take that and your Spiritbond and materia to the bank. I think that is going to just about do it for us. It's crazy how much we can talk about, and an hour goes by, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's already time. So we'll definitely have more to talk about in a couple weeks. I imagine. I mean, we're nearing the end of January now. We're going to be in the early February. I imagine we'll at least have a date for this special live letter at that point. They're saying it's going to be probably in the end of February. So just more hype and speculation stuff is likely to be abound, and possibly next episode. Maybe a guest voice or two. I need to talk to people about that first. But
for real this time?
I was gonna say, you've been promising that for the past few episodes. It's something of a running gag.
No.
Point.
Well, yeah, it is something of a gag. So here's the thing. So I've been trying to get John Jagger on the show for a while right now. I'm still it's timing and scheduling and stuff like that. That might happen next episode, but there's also a couple other people that I have in mind to be on the show, and I'm kind of excited about that. So we'll see how that all pans out. I like teasing things that never end up happening. I mean, Scott Johnson did that all the time.
It's synonymous with his name. It's called Pulling a Johnson.
Yeah, it's Pulling Johnson. All right. Well, until those moments happen or not happen, Meagan, where can people find you on the internet and the stuff that you do?
Everything is linked off of my Twitter, which is at @CatMomMeagan, Meagan. You can see a bunch of pictures of my cat, and also my art and my webtoon are linked from there.
Awesome. And Brandon, how about you?
If you go to my Twitter profile, it is at thebmatt, THEBMATT. My link in there is a link tree that basically will take you anywhere you want to go. There's my Tumblr, my WordPress blog, links to both of the podcasts I do, including Plus 5 to Hit, a Dungeons & Dragons Real Play podcast, DM'd by our very own Ro. And yeah, just everything you would ever want to see about me can be found from there.
Awesome. You already heard about Plus 5 to Hit, so you can check out that if you want to hear Brandon and I there. I'm getting really excited about some of the stuff that's happening in there for sure. You can also find me on Twitter at RowWCR. You can find this podcast on Twitter at A Podcast Reborn. And as I mentioned earlier, you can email apodcastreborn@gmail.com if you'd like to shame me about playing a Herd Midlander. So...
Call him Kirito.
Yeah.
I do not get that reference.
Don't worry.
Meagan has the power of God and anime on her side. The theme for our show is Alex Moukala's Imagine Boss theme for Endwalker. Do check out his YouTube channel for more great music. A link to it can be found in the show notes for this podcast. And of course, any other music that's derivatives of Final Fantasy XIV music you hear on the show also belongs to Square Enix. No copyright infringement is intended. That will do it for us for episode 6. Until episode 7, for Meagan, Brandon, and Butterscotch, this is Brian Black. Until next time, may your loot rolls be high, your glamour fantastic, and your duties always complete. Brandon?
You gotta hand it to those Lalafels, because they can't reach it themselves.
See you in 2 weeks.
Oh.